The world of drama, where every performance is a masterpiece, every misstep is a pratfall, and every script is either a tragedy or a comedy, sometimes both at once. But have you ever taken a closer look at what Sims actually study in the drama major? Well, grab your stage props and prepare for some theatrical chaos, because today we're diving into the hilariously over-the-top class names from the Sims 2 University Drama Major. Drama, the study of performance. Sims are born to perform, being dancing, joking, or busting a move. However, it's only those Sims who delve into drama that manage to transcend merrymaking and create art. So we've set the scene for the drama major, and let's dive straight into it, because the first year is a freshman year, and here the first class is called The History of Ancient Drama, when every play ended with death. So the name is a reference to the tragic nature of ancient Greek and Roman theatre, because in classical drama, particularly in ancient Greek tragedies, plays often ended in death, destruction, or some form of great suffering for the main characters. We have playwrights like Sophocles, Euripides, and Aeschylus, who wrote tragedies where fate, the gods, or human flaws led to inevitable doom. Famous examples include the King Oedipus, where Oedipus blinded himself after learning he fulfilled a terrible prophecy, and Medea, where Medea takes revenge in a horrifying way. So the class name here humorously exaggerates the stereotype that ancient plays were overwhelmingly tragic, even though comedies existed as well. And of course it also plays on The Sims 2's love of dramatic storytelling, because, let's be honest, Sim lives often end in chaos too. At least mine do. But when we get to the second semester, the class is called Improvisation, because scripts are for wusses. So the name is a funny reference to the art of improv theater, where actors perform without a script and create scenes spontaneously. So I guess it plays on the rivalry between scripted acting and improvisational performance, suggesting that true actors don't need a script. Or is it the other way around? Because improv actors can think on their feet and react in the moment, so I guess it could be a nod to the famous improv-based comedy groups like Second City or Whose Line Is It Anyway?, where actors embrace unpredictability and creativity. And on the other way, I think it could be a pun on the fact that improv theater is, at least in my understanding, a bit looked down upon, and I'm not really sure why, but it must be about making fun of people who might not be able to follow a script. So the name again exaggerates this idea in a playful way, making it sound like using a script is the easy way out, when in reality both scripted and improvised performances requires a lot of skill. But the first year is done, you have now reached the sophomore year, and here the first class is called Pratfalls and Other Ways to Give Up Your Dignity. So the name is a reference to physical comedy, especially the kind seen in slapstick performances. Because a pratfall is a classical comedy move where someone deliberately falls in an exaggerated or clumsy way to make people laugh. So this technique is often associated with silent film stars like Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, as well as modern comedians who rely on physical humor. So I think the joke here is that mastering pratfalls, and by extension slapstick comedy, means completely sacrificing one's dignity, since it often involves falling, getting hit, or looking ridiculous for comedic effect. And again, it also fits well with the Sims 2 style of humor, since Sims frequently have over-the-top reactions that make them look unintentionally goofy. So essentially, Sims are living in a world where pratfalls happen all the time. But the second semester class is called Costume Design because naked actors are distracting. So the name is obviously a funny take on the importance of costume design in theater and film, because it plays on the obvious yet funny idea that costumes serve more than just an artistic purpose. They also keep actors decent and focused. So while costumes help define a character's role, time period, and the personality, the phrase jokes that their most basic function is simply to cover the actors up, since performing without them would be quite distracting for the audience. And I think that this is also a funny nod to the fact that many young actors are maybe willing to go the extra step to get a role. So there is a higher chance of being the naked prop when you're looking for a job. Let's just put it that way. So the question that we're left with here is whether costumes are or aren't anything else than just covering the actors up. Please let me know in the comments what you think. But we're moving on, and your sim has now reached the junior year. And here the first class is called Moving Pretentiously, a Modern Dance Workshop. So, the name is a jab at the often abstract and exaggerated movements around in modern dance. Because modern dance, especially in experimental and avant-garde forms, is sometimes criticized or, well, lovingly teased for looking overly dramatic, abstract, or deep in a way that can seem pretentious to outsiders. So dancers might perform slow and, over-the-top gestures, making expressive but cryptic movements, or interacting with space in a way that can feel overly serious or symbolic. And I guess the name plays on the stereotype that modern dance is sometimes taken too seriously, making it seem as though dancers are just waving their arms around and striking odd poses while acting like it's deeply, deeply meaningful. Which is quite a harsh jab, but, well, let's be honest, it's not necessarily unfair, right? But moving on, because the second semester class is called Stage Combat Without Killing Your Peers. So the name is a reference to stage combat training, where actors learn to perform realistic fight scenes without actually injuring each other. That's smart, right? Because stage combat is a crucial part of theater and films, used in everything from Shakespearean duels to modern action sequences. However, since fights do need to look convincing, there's always a risk that poorly executed choreography could lead to accidental injuries. Unfortunately, we have seen these things in both theater and film, and it's such a tragedy when something happens to actors. Or anyone, of course. So, of course, the name is a joke, but also a serious joke, that learning stage combat is essentially about figuring out how to fight without turning your co-stars into hospital patients. And of course, that is definitely an important skill if you want to keep getting cast in productions. But it's getting more and more serious now, because your sim has reached the senior year, and here the first class is called The One Sim Show, Drama for Those Who Don't Play Well with Others. So the name is a funny reference to one-person shows, or like one-man or one-woman shows. A theatrical performance where a single actor performs the entire production alone. These one-person shows are often deeply personal, dramatic, and sometimes seen as a showcase for an actor's talent. However, the title jokes that during a solo performance isn't just an artistic choice, it's a solution for people who can't get along with their fellow actors. So I guess this plays on the stereotype that theater can attract big personalities, diva behavior, or clashing egos. So for some performers, the best way to avoid drama off stage is to keep all of the drama on stage, alone. But the second semester class and the very last class of this major is called Characterization, becoming someone more interesting than you. So, ouch. This name is a funny take on the core concept of characterization in acting. So, the process of developing and portraying a character in a believable way, which is acting, right? So it plays on the idea that actors often take on roles that are far more exciting, dramatic, or complex than their real life personalities, whether it's a hero, a villain, a historical figure, or an eccentric artist. Acting allows people to temporarily become someone with a more compelling story. So the joke here is that for some actors, this might be the most interesting thing they will ever do, which is a harsh, but I guess fair assumption. Because in real life, how exciting are our lives? We love them, we do, but it's not action-packed like in the movies. And also, I think that this name fits well with The Sims 2 sarcastic and self-aware humor, poking fun at both actors, of course, but also the escapist appeal of drama that makes us players play The Sims. Because we love drama and we love making our Sims' lives way more interesting than maybe our own are. But now you have a major in drama. So let's take a look at the skills needed to get here. Because you'll need 5 charisma skills, 4 body skills, 4 logic skills, and 4 creativity skills. Those are the most important. And if we take a look at the charisma skills, I think these are the most obvious because it is likely a reference to the fact that acting, stage presence, and public performance all rely on strong charisma. So in theater and in film, actors must captivate an audience, deliver lines with confidence, and embody their characters convincingly. Whether it's performing in a play, auditioning for a role, or commanding the stage in a monologue, charisma is essential for making a performance engaging and believable. And offstage, it could also be a nod to how successful actors, directors, and theater professionals often have to rely on charm and social skills to network, to land roles, and to build a career in the entertainment industry. So, in other words, being a good actor isn't just about talent, it's also about how well you can sell yourself and your performance. And if we take a look at the body skill, I think that this is a reference to the obvious physical demands of acting and theater performance, because many aspects of drama requires strong physical control, such as stage combat, dancing, mime, and expressive body movement. So obviously it could also relate to stamina and endurance, as actors often need to perform high energy scenes repeatedly during rehearsals and during live performances. But acting is very much about embodying someone else, and I think that it's obvious that you would need body skills to do so. And then we have the logic skills, because I think the logic skills could be a reference to the analytical and strategic thinking required in acting and theater, because actors and directors must analyze scripts, they must understand character motivation, and they'll have to make logical decisions about blocking, pacing, and storytelling. So elements like stage direction, lighting, and production planning require some problem-solving skills as well. So that could also be a reference for logic skills. But I do think that the most obvious is the analyzation of personal development, of scripts, and of the acts itself. And then we have the creativity skill, and I think that this is one of the most obvious skills needed in a drama major, because drama and theater is art. So obviously this is a reference to the artistic and imaginative aspects of theater, because acting, script writing, directing, and set design all require a strong sense of creativity to bring characters and stories to life. Whether it's improvising on stage, embodying different roles, or crafting compelling performances, creativity is essential for making drama engaging and memorable. But that's it. Now your sim has majored in drama. So please let me know in the comments if I've missed anything, and stay tuned for other videos. Bye!